What's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Trey, and as usual, I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. Today, we're going to talk about this controversial transgender topic in the WNBA. But before we do that, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Comment, tell anyone about the show. Trying to get the ratings up a little bit, just a little bit. And if you wonder where you heard this before, that's because you've been listening with me Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I greatly appreciate your support. Now, before we get into this, I just got to say off top, I am not trying to offend anybody, right? And if you have like that ignorant mindset, I greatly appreciate it if you stop listening now because it's going to get a little controversial, right? And hopefully this is the last time that I have to talk about this because, again, my show is called Get a Bucket. I just want to see players hoop. I want to see players get a bucket. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I want to focus on. And I don't want to have too much of a political stance in this space. But this conversation has to be had, I think, because it's creating too much of a distraction, right? And I hate distractions because the WNBA has been on a come up over the last couple of years. We've seen expansion teams. We've seen the team's valuations in terms of how much the organizations are valued go up exponentially. We have one team that's viewed at $1 billion. Like the WNBA have been making some noise, but now it seems to be a little more drama than what I'd like to have. So let's talk about it, shall we? So this conversation kind of came up because Sophie Cunningham on the Indiana Fever took a stance against allowing folks who identify as women who are transgender, right, should be playing in the WNBA. She doesn't believe that stance, okay? And I get it. I get it. We're not saying I don't believe transgender people deserve dignity or equal treatment. We're saying I believe sex-based athletic categories still serve a legitimate competitive purpose. And I can understand that. And again, I hate the fact that we're having a lot of distractions going on, like using Di'Jonnai Carrington versus Sophie Cunningham as an example. Di'Jonnai Carrington does a really hard foul, hits Sophie Cunningham across the face. Keep in mind, Di'Jonnai was going for the ball, but at the same time, too, that was a hard foul based on definition of the play. That's a flagrant 2. Like, I can't be mad at the flagrant 2 personally. I can't. And then afterwards, she posts white privilege. I don't think that's a white privilege moment, Di'Jonnai. I really don't. That was a flagrant 2. If they said flagrant 1, okay, cool, I hear it. Especially back in the day, that might have been viewed as a tough foul. But especially nowadays, that's a flagrant 2. But the distraction piece is the white privilege part. Because now we're bringing race into it. And I don't think this was a racial topic. I really don't think this was a racial topic at all. I really don't. So again, we can't be having too many distractions. Just like how we have Enes Kanter and Royce White entering the conversation. These are 2 former NBA players, respectable for their time, played college, all that stuff, heard you. But when you're making a joke saying you identify as transgender woman and you want to declare for the 2027 draft, don't get me wrong, while comical, I do enjoy a good joke. While comical, again, this was still a distraction, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot have these distractions occurring right now in the WNBA's growth. We cannot. Like, first it was Enes Kanter, and again, his video was comical, and then Royce White joined in. We got to stop this. Now, how do we actually stop this? Well, I think we got to have the tough conversations, right? And talk about why we should and should not allow transgender athletes in the WNBA. So why you should go pro transgender athletes? Maybe because of equal treatment, right? Like, as women, I know women believe in equality. I personally believe in equality, so I get it. So by that definition, should we consider this as equal treatment? On one hand, yes, because you're allowing everyone to play. Like, the WNBA players can play in the NBA. So does that mean that the NBA should be able to play in the WNBA? Now, keep in mind, too, that the new CBA agreement does kind of talk against having NBA players playing. Not specifically, but you know what I'm saying? They're focusing on on women playing in the WNBA, which I understand that. Hell, I think Article 14 actually says that only women can play in the WNBA. But in this era, in today's society, it seems like anybody can identify as a woman. So that does add a little gray area right there. Like it does. Because again, based on today's culture, who identifies as a woman, what classifies or constitutes as a woman nowadays? That can be a discussion for somebody, especially if they're trying to, again, enter the WNBA. So when you think about equality, is it equal? And we got to talk about it from a pro and a con standpoint in the same breath. On the pro side, again, you're including everyone. On the con side, well, is it actual equal treatment? Like, is the level of play going to be equal? So is allowing a transgender athlete really equal treatment? Those are two ways to look at equal treatment for this topic. I understand that, hormone changes occur. I get that. But again, on the flip side, too, this is a whole nother point. While the hormones are changed, is it changed enough to where you don't have a physiological advantage? Like, let's be real. Growing up, girls would get the better of boys at an early age because they're physically more dominant. They're more developed than us growing up, right? But as time goes on, as guys hit puberty, there is a bit of a switch. So imagine Shaq playing Brittany Griner. That's an advantage right there. That's a physical advantage. And Brittany Griner is arguably the most dominant physical force the WNBA has had. And Shaq is, well, hell, we all know who Shaq is. So I think there's an advantage. Even if Shaq was on hormones, bro, like and dropped his levels, he would still have an advantage easily. So again, going back to the equal treatment a little bit, is it really going to be fair to the WNBA athletes? And again, we've talked about pros and cons, right? We've talked about pros and cons. This one's more so a con. Roster spaces are already scarce. I get it. You can say this was a pro where the transgender athlete population might even be small. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, we still only got 12 roster spaces on the WNBA rosters. So imagine a WNBA athlete losing their spot to someone who's transgender. And they already don't like the idea of a transgender athlete hitting the WNBA. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. And some people might say, oh, it's a personal problem. Yeah, but on the other hand, again, going back to that fairness and equality, is it really fair? Now, here's another thing, too. Because, again, I told you all, I believe in equality. I also believe in competition. So I do want to see good competition. I would like to, on one hand, see transgender athletes hitting the WNBA space, just like I would like to see transgender athletes hitting the NBA space. Probably more so the NBA space because, all right, now we don't have as much of an advantage as you might if you hit in the WNBA. That could be a legitimate thing. And again, I'm not saying, oh, they should never. No, 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 no. If there's a fair way to include transgender athletes, I'll hear you. Maybe even have a transgender league and treat it as co-ed. Maybe that could be a thing. But I need to have it be fair because, again, I love equality and I love competition. So that's got to be there for sure. But imagine a transgender athlete playing in the NBA. That would be interesting to see. And again, women can play in the NBA too. So on one hand, if you believe in equality, should you also believe that the NBA players should play in the WNBA? Again, it's a very interesting conversation, ladies and gentlemen. But I don't want this to be too much of a distraction from the growth of the WNBA. Because again, the WNBA has been going on a nice little tear and I needed to keep going. So hopefully this could be the last time that we have to talk about this. But I am curious, ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts about the transgender athlete discussion? Do you believe they should play in the WNBA? Do you believe they shouldn't play in the WNBA? Do you believe they should play in the NBA? Would you like to see this level of competition? I definitely want to hear your thoughts. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that does conclude the end of the episode. And again, I hope you took away from this conversation, not that I'm trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to have that awkward and open and honest conversation because I think it's important. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember, I'm not trying to make anyone feel weird. I'm not trying to disrespect anyone. I'm trying to have honest and open conversation and educate some folk, as well as be educated myself. So please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, tell anyone who's anyone, one, about the WNBA, and two, about my show. My name is Trey. I'm the host of Get a Bucket. I hope you're all having a good one. Take care.